1 off the ghost. Ghosting is when someone disappears without warning, explanation, or decency. One day you're texting about dinner plans, the next you're talking to the void like you're auditioning for a haunted house. They vanish mid-conversation like a bad magician, except instead of pulling a rabbit out of a hat, they just pull the plug on basic human decency. There's no goodbye, no closure, just silence so loud it deserves its own Spotify playlist. The real evil of ghosting is the mental gymnastics it causes. Did I say something weird? Did they get abducted? Were they ever even real? Or did I just hallucinate them during a horny dream? It's less ending and more psychological escape room. You don't get rejected all at once. You get slowly gaslit by silence. 2. The slow fade. The slow fade is like ghosting on dial-up. They don't disappear all at once. They just fade out like the end of a sad indie song. Texts go from "can't wait to see you" to "K." You used to get heart emojis. Now it's just read receipts and vibes. You start making excuses for them. Maybe they're just overwhelmed. Maybe they're going through something and don't know how to talk about it. Nope, they're just emotionally Irish exiting the relationship. It's not a breakup, it's a budget cut. They start giving you the bare minimum until the relationship dies of neglect. You don't even get dumped. You just get demoted from romantic interest to someone they respond to when they're bored in an Uber. By the time you call it out, they hit you with, "I just didn't want to hurt you." Which is hilarious because this slow, confusing, emotional ghosting feels like death by 1,000 dry texts. 3. The mutual uncoupling. This is the grown-up breakup, where both people agree that it's not working and part ways respectfully. It's quiet, civil, and usually sounds like, "We just want different things." No screaming, no silent treatment, no throwing of metaphorical furniture. Just two people staring at each other like accountants closing out a balance sheet. It sounds ideal, and sometimes it is, but mutual doesn't always mean painless. Often one person feels more relieved, and the other feels like they agreed just to avoid looking desperate. The peace can be deceiving. It doesn't hurt less. It just hurts later, when you're alone, and there's no villain to blame. The situationship. Breakup. The relationship that was everything. Except a relationship. You did all the couple stuff, sleepovers, inside jokes, casual emotional codependency, but without any of the titles or responsibilities. And then it ends. Abruptly. Like you accidentally sat on the remote and turned off your love life. You try to explain your heartbreak to your friends, but it sounds like you're mourning a fever dream. They weren't my partner, but also, they were the only person I talked to for 4 months straight, and we cuddled like penguins. You don't get flowers or sympathy. You get side eyes and advice to date someone real next time. But here's the kicker. Just because it wasn't official doesn't mean it didn't hurt. Your heart doesn't need paperwork to feel played. 5. The blindsided breakup. Everything was fine, until it wasn't. 1 minute you're making brunch plans, the next they're sitting you down with that ominous, "we need to talk" face. Turns out they've been thinking about this for a while. Oh, have you? Must have been between all the forehead kisses and "can't wait to see you" texts. This breakup doesn't just wreck your heart, it sucker punches your intuition. You spiral. Was I blind? Were there signs? Was the sex a lie? You start rewatching every memory, like it's an FBI interrogation tape. In reality, it probably wasn't fake. It just ended before you got the memo. 6. The on and off. Again, this breakup never really ends. It just loops. You fight, break up, miss each other, hook up, talk things through, and get back together. Rinse and repeat until your friends stop asking for updates because they know you'll be back in each other's phones by Friday. It feels intense because it is. But intensity doesn't equal health. The highs are addictive, and the lows are dramatic enough to be their own HBO series. You keep returning, not because it works, but because breaking up hurts less than imagining life without them. The cycle becomes the relationship, and the breakup just becomes another Tuesday. 7. The explosive breakup. This one goes up in flames. Yelling, door slamming, 17-paragraph texts. A dramatic block, an equally dramatic unblock. Maybe even a petty Venmo charge for your half of the sushi. It's messy, theatrical, and somehow still feels better than silence. The highs are wild, the lows are lava, and weirdly, it makes you feel alive. It's not just a breakup, it's a mini-series. But here's the trap. All that intensity. It doesn't fix anything. It just exhausts you into round 2, and 3, and maybe 4. You confuse drama for passion, chaos for chemistry, and every time you think this is the final season, until they text you up and suddenly you're filming a reboot. 8. The disappearing act. This isn't just ghosting, this is full-scale vanishing. 1 minute you're sharing playlists, the next they've scrubbed themselves from the internet like they witnessed a crime. No call, no text. Just poof. Blocked, deleted. Gone. You don't even get breadcrumbs, you get total blackout. It's like they got abducted by aliens with strict privacy settings. At first you worry. Then you're confused. Then you realise, oh, this was intentional. They didn't just disappear. They erased the evidence. It feels extreme because it is. And while they'll say they were avoiding drama, what they were really avoiding was accountability. You weren't dating a person. You were dating a flight risk. 9. The long goodbye. This is the breakup that drags. For weeks, maybe months. You both know it's ending, but no one wants to pull the plug. Conversations feel like chores. Intimacy feels like a favour. Every date feels like you're pretending it's still working. You stay because leaving is sad, but staying feels like slow emotional rot. You tell yourself it'll get better after the holidays, or after the trip, or after Mercury gets out of retrograde. It doesn't. By the time it ends, you're more relieved than heartbroken, which makes you feel guilty. But truthfully, the real breakup happened long before anyone said the words. 10. The ultimatum breakup. One person draws a line. Commit or quit. Move in or move on. And the other stalls, delays, deflects with, let's not rush things, even though it's been 2 years and a lease renewal. Eventually, the person making the request becomes the person walking away. Not because they want to, but because they ran out of hope. It's painful because love isn't always the problem. It's the follow-through. You don't break up because they didn't care. You break up because caring isn't the same as showing up. And while the person dragging their feet might play the victim, deep down, they knew. They just thought you'd never actually leave. 11. The rebound breakup. This one starts fast and ends confused. One or both of you jumped in right after another heartbreak, thinking a new person could patch up the hole the last one left. Spoiler, it can't. At first it's great, fun, flirty, full of distraction. You think, wow, maybe this is actually something. But then the emotional Wi-Fi cuts out. The chemistry fizzles, conversations get weirdly surface level. You realise you don't actually know this person. You just trauma bonded over mutual loneliness. And when it ends, it's less devastating heartbreak and more, yes, this makes sense. Still stings though, because for a second, it almost felt like a cure. 12. The betrayal breakup. This breakup isn't vague. It's got receipts. Cheating. Lying. Hidden kids. Whatever the betrayal is, it's a plot twist you didn't see coming and didn't deserve. It's not just the act. It's the months you spent trusting someone who was living a double life with the emotional range of a garden hose. You don't break down. You detonate. The crying comes later. First it's rage. You dig through old memories like a detective with a corkboard and string. And when the sadness finally hits, it's wrapped in disbelief. Because the pain isn't just about losing them. It's about realising they were never who you thought they were. 13. The what are we? Breakup. You finally ask the question, what are we doing? And they finally give an answer. Not this. It's clarity, served cold. You were hoping for reassurance. Instead, you got a one-way ticket out of emotional limbo. The worst part, you had to ask. You opened your heart, laid it all out, and they responded with a casual shrug and a friendship offer you didn't ask for. These breakups are humiliating because they happen right after your most vulnerable moment. You didn't get ghosted. You got gently lowered into the friend zone, like a coffin on ropes. 14. The guilt trip. Breakup. This is the breakup where they make you do the dirty work. They won't leave, but they'll stop trying. They withdraw, complain, act hurt, and make you feel like the bad guy for wanting more than a lukewarm situationship with emotional surcharge. You beg for effort. They sigh like you're being unreasonable for having basic needs. Eventually you crack. You end it. And then they say, "Wow, I didn't think you'd give up on us." Now you're heartbroken and somehow cast as the villain in a breakup they emotionally engineered. It's not a clean break. It's a masterclass in passive-aggressive self-sabotage, disguised as love. 15. The controlled burn. This is the strategic breakup. The one where you leave not because it's dramatic, but because you see the slow crash coming and decide not to be in the wreckage. The communication's stale, the spark's gone. Everything feels like roommate energy in cute couple packaging. It's not impulsive, it's intentional. And that's what makes it hard. You still care, you still could coast, but you choose the painful honesty of leaving over the quiet misery of staying. There's no door slam, no dramatic text thread, just a moment of quiet courage where you say, "This isn't right," and actually mean it. It doesn't make it hurt less, it just makes it hurt with dignity. 16. The I'm not ready breakup. This one sounds like, "I'm just not in a place for something serious right now." And it's never said on the first date. It's said after 3 months of sleepovers, emotional vulnerability, and just enough intimacy to convince you this was going somewhere. Maybe they mean it. Maybe they don't. Either way, you leave spinning. You replay every moment, wondering if it was all a misunderstanding, or if they were just using relationship language on a situationship timeline. It's not a lie, it's an escape hatch. And it's especially cruel because it leaves the door cracked just enough for you to wait, even though you shouldn't. 17. The third-party breakup. This breakup wasn't between you and them, it was between you, them, and something else. A move, a job, a new partner, a family crisis, unprocessed trauma. Whatever it was, it showed up like a plot twist and changed everything. You didn't fall out of love, you got derailed, and that's the hardest part. It didn't end because it was broken. It ended because something else got in the way. No one cheated. No one stopped caring. It just couldn't survive the interference. You walk away not with anger, but with what if, the most annoying flavour of heartbreak there is. 18. The self-discovery breakup. This breakup hits different because no one did anything wrong. There was no betrayal, no big fight, just growth. You started changing. They stayed the same. Or maybe they grew in a direction that made you realise this isn't your person anymore. You didn't fall out of love. You evolved past the version of you that picked them. It's confusing because everything still works on paper. But in your gut, it's done. This kind of breakup is quiet but powerful. It's not, "I don't love you." It's, "I love myself more now." And that kind of clarity hurts, but it also frees you. 19. The pre-planned exit. This one is sneaky. They don't just break up with you. They prepare to break up with you. Emotionally check out. Get distant. Maybe even line someone else up in the background like it's a relay race. By the time they end it, they're already halfway through healing, and you're still processing breakfast. You sit there stunned while they hit you with a calm, scripted monologue they clearly practiced in the mirror. It feels cold because it is. You weren't part of the decision. You were just informed of it. And now they're thriving while you're over here, trying to figure out how to sleep without crying on your own shoulder. 20. The emotional implosion. This one doesn't explode, it just dies. No drama, no final fight. Just a quiet collapse under the weight of unspoken resentment, avoided conversations, and slowly growing distance. At first, everything looks normal. But underneath, the lights are off. You stop laughing together. You stop trying. Then one day you realise you haven't really felt anything in weeks. There's no villain, no event to blame. Just emotional neglect in a trench coat pretending to be busy. It's one of the hardest breakups to explain, because from the outside, everything seemed fine. But inside, you were already gone, and so were they. Now, if you've made it through any of these breakups and still believe in love, you're either incredibly resilient or addicted to chaos.